The poor work, the rich invest. Why is that? Hello everyone, I'm Bobtheorc, and welcome to Don't Be Someone Else's Bitch. This is episode 2, where we're going to talk about the difference between working and investing, and why the poor always seem to be working all the time, why the rich are not. So let's go make a campfire. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So, the big thing to understand is that work only pays the bills. You cannot get rich just from work alone. And if you look at the people out there, the people who have never accomplished great things in life, they're always spending all of their time working just to pay the bills. And they never seem to get ahead. People work really, really hard. Maybe they build up a little bit of money. They might get themselves a fancy house, or they might have some nice things, but they're really still just kind of a wage slave, and they're still subject to the whims of others. And that's not really a good way to live. So, the reason people get trapped in this kind of situation is a lot of times is lifestyle choices, actually. And if you live modestly, you don't have to work as much to pay the bills. If you live an extravagant lifestyle, you have to work a lot just to keep it up. I knew this one guy, he was a customer of mine, and he would work oil field. And he had a fancy $500,000 house, and he had a gigantic truck that probably cost him $60,000, $70,000. He had an RV and boats and trailers and all the goodies, right? And this guy was in debt up to his eyeballs, and he was always having to work his butt off. And eventually, he went bankrupt. He just couldn't sustain it. And he tried starting businesses, but they would just fail because his cost of living was so high that it was just impossible for him to ever get ahead. And I'm going to use me as a counterexample. I live well below my means. You know, a lot of people make fun of me that even all this time later, I still have the same crappy house that I bought in college because it's cheap, it's comfortable, it's in a good enough part of town, but I can easily afford it, right? I don't have to work that hard just to pay the bills. And this gives me a lot of free time that I can do other things with. And the real key that people need to understand is that investment is what builds your long-term wealth and success. You're never going to be able to work your way to success. Now, hard work is necessary, but hard work for somebody else only gets you so far. And the way that you build a long-term success is by investing in yourself, investing in projects, starting up additional businesses, or doing something that you're uniquely good at, that's proper for you. And so in my case, for example, I was working for Gateway, making okay money, and I saved up about $500, and I started my computer business out of my college to help, or out of my apartment back in college to help pay for, help pay for school, because I really didn't have a lot of time to be working all the time. I had classes, I was taking a big course load, and by investing in this side project, eventually I was able to build it up to the point where it was still kind of a job. At least I was working for myself, and that's better than working for somebody else. It's still not perfect. I mean, ideally, you want your investments to get to the point where they pay for everything. And then you can focus full time on creating new things. But I was able to, by making sacrifices, by living modestly, I was able to build up my own thing. And a lot of people are like, I don't have money, only rich people can afford to invest. And it's kind of true and it's kind of not. So you have to be very realistic about what you have, okay? You have your time, you have your abilities, you have other resources. So like in my case, I didn't have a lot of money. I had like $500 to my name, which is not a lot. and it took me a little while to save that up. But I had some very talented friends who I was able to rely on, and we were able to team up and work together out of my apartment, and then eventually in a computer store. We got a retail store, and by utilizing the resources I had talented individuals. I had people that owed me favors. I had some equipment I was able to eventually repurpose. Uh, things like that. And so look at the resources you have, and how can you leverage that. And the one big thing that makes that differentiates successful people from unsuccessful people is how do they spend their free time. Now, a lot of people who are just scraping by, they've got free time. They may not think they do, but they spend their free time playing video games or getting drunk or just watching TV, doing things that don't really contribute. Now, don't get me wrong, recreation's important. I spend time playing video games too, but it's not the mainstay of my life. In fact, one of the reasons I'm starting this YouTube channel is so that I can take my hobby, my video game hobby, and invest a little bit into it to build maybe something for the future. And so a lot of times successful people find ways to take their hobby and find ways to turn it into something more productive. Or you'll see that successful people will spend a lot of time reading and studying and learning and improving themselves. I spend time every day reading and studying a couple hours a day just to learn new skills and improve the skills that I have. I spend time every day working out, focusing on my health, because your body and your mind are your greatest investment, right? And so as you find you're going to have to evaluate what resources you have. I know a couple guys that made it pretty successful because they had a truck and they just started doing some lawn care stuff on the side, and eventually that built up. A couple guys in a truck can make money just being a couple guys with a truck. And so you've got to evaluate your situation and see, what do you have, what are your resources, because you might be poor as hell. I mean, I've been homeless before, and I had practically nothing to my name, but I had my time, I had my mind, I had my car, and I was able to leverage that to move forward. The final thing that is really important is to understand that your time is limited. It is your most precious resource. You can always make more money, you can always get more stuff, but you don't get more time. The only way you can potentially get more time is to invest in your health, which lengthens your useful lifespan, perhaps. But you only have so much time on this earth, and how you spend it is really important. And so you need to prioritize, what are you going to invest your time in? And in my case, I invested time in my computer business. I invested time in some of my engineering projects. And now I invested my time in this YouTube channel. And in order to do that, there's a lot of things that I don't have time to do. I have to pick and choose. Your health and wellness is always top priority. You're furthering your education, broadening your mind. That's always I would say probably number two. Your health is probably first. Your education and just learning things. Not necessarily formal education, although that can help, but just spending time reading and learning. That's probably your second priority. And then finding ways, how can I take the skills that I have and monetize them? In my case, I'm very good at solving problems. I'm very good at helping people with complicated situations, and so I can charge a fee to untangle people from their messy situations. But I'm still trading time for money, but it's at least for myself. And then leveling that up and getting to kind of the final stage is, with my computer business, for example, I established it, I got it set up, and now it pretty much runs itself. I don't have to put a lot of direct input into it. And so this is now an investment, right? It's something that I built with my own hands and I built with my mind. I created it from nothing. And I had some help, but it was mostly me pushing the boulder up the hill. But once I got it to where stable, and I have people running it for me now, that frees up my time that I can invest in my next project. And so finding a way to prioritize your time, invest in something that will become long-term sustainable, and it doesn't even have to make that much money. It just has to help a little bit, just a little steps forward as you slowly free yourself from the burdens of society. And the whole key to that is living small, live very modestly, and dreaming big, and really pushing yourself to achieve things. So I wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, share the video with your friends, leave a comment below, and don't be assholes to each other. Move forward and bring people with you, but do it properly. Thank you very much. Good night.